at Bernstein.com.
Love the music. Get ready because on the show today is Frankie Moreno.
Hey,
I love it.
how are you?
You ready for some? They're ready for some chaos, and you are the master.
I'm the master of chaos.
The master is that
Controlled chaos.
Controller
Controlled
of chaos. And ironically enough, you're about to start a new residency at the Palms Hotel in a room called
Chaos.
but with a K.
With a K.
You're with a CHAOS. This is the KAOS.
That is true. That is true.
Pronounced the same way.
Right.
You got that
exactly.
straight. Unbelievable, Frankie. You know, I do a little bit of research before I do an interview. And I just couldn't, when I was doing some research about you, I just couldn't believe what I believe it, but I never knew how successful you really have been. You have broken the Guinness Book of Records for the top 10 singles, number ones, right? 67 number one hits.
Yeah.
More than Beatles, Madonna, Elvis.
Well, I just released more music, that's all.
And we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, but let me finish with all the accolades that you've accomplished in your life. An Emmy nomination.
Yeah.
Of course, being
So that
named,
was for a PBS special I did, music thing.
love PBS specials, right? I mean,
Yeah.
no commercials.
No commercials.
Las Vegas headliner of the year, five times.
Yeah, you did your
five
homework for sure.
times, yeah. And also, okay, the way you write, you had, okay. No, you're going to talk about this because
Okay.
you write. You were telling me before we went on the air that you write almost a song a day. But you made musical history by becoming the only artist to have 6 albums debut in a top 10 spot on Billboard's charts in a 12-month period.
Right.
6 in 12 months.
So we were releasing an album every couple months. We were releasing a full, they call it LP, a full long play album, 12 songs, whatever. We were just in this kick of writing and releasing, and I hadn't really written in about 5 years. I mean, I'd written. There was a period of 5 years when we were headlining at, when we left the Stratosphere.
Right.
I had just released this album, and we went on that show, Dancing with the Stars, and we had a big hit with this song called Tangerine Honey, and got all 13 million people or 18 million people watching the show. The song just sold, and then for the next year or two, like we were talking about this before we went on camera here, it's like you have to play that music over and over. So we were very busy. We were touring and busy, and all I was doing was singing those songs over and over and over. Amazing, because everyone wants to hear them, so there's a good connection with the audience. But in the meantime, like, I just didn't have time to write new music, and I just kind of lost the interest in doing it, because we're like, well, now it's just I'm just doing a job. I sing, and I sing those songs, and that's it. And so when it got back to, like, things altered slightly, and I had time to write again, I started writing like crazy. And I mean, I'm still on this writing kick now. We're just, every day I wake up and I just write, whether it's a good one or a bad one, or no matter what, I finish a song.
You just put it down. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. But for viewers who haven't had an opportunity to see you, I don't even know how to begin describing what it is that you do. I mean, not only do you have incredible songs that you have written and perform musically, I mean, piano, guitar that you play, but the showmanship that you have, and when you think of past Las Vegas entertainers like Elvis, like Liberace, who were showmen, right?
Oh, yeah.
You are a showman of a different type. You know, I mean, there's nothing that in the middle of a show, all of a sudden you come up with something new and you're surprising the heck out of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess it just comes down to I grew up watching those guys. I mean, I never got to actually see Elvis or Liberace in concert. But I just grew up with those videos and watching it and going like, wow, once you see that, like, how are you entertained by someone just standing there? I just wasn't personally, because that's what was taught to me, that was what was good. And, you know, I never tried to be an entertainer or a showman like that. I just wanted to be a songwriter. It just happens that when I sing the songs, that's what's in my head, is those artists doing that. That's just kind of what happens, you know.
When I think about somebody playing piano, I have two visions in my mind. Okay.
Right.
One is Madonna. Lady Gaga.
Lady
One
Gaga,
is Lady
yeah.
Gaga. Because when Lady
Who's
Gaga
amazing.
plays the piano, she can play the piano. All of a sudden, her leg,
Right.
you know, is a slit up her skirt, and her
Right,
leg is
right.
up there and looks.
Amazing.
The other one is you standing and on the piano or in front of the piano,
Right.
playing the piano. I mean,
Awesome.
it should also be in the Guinness Book of Records.
Well, I mean, you know, Lady Gaga, you mentioned, like, she's classically trained. She's classical. So, you know, you put on the show and you all that stuff, but, like, I think the ones who really make a bigger splash long term are ones who really are knowledged in the craft, right? And she's a classically trained pianist. So you can watch her show and she's got the crazy outfits and all that, but she really knows music. And I've studied classical my whole life, and jazz, and I mean, I play rock and roll and whatever in the show, or whatever you call it, I guess, but I mean, it's just, I love music.
And you've been doing it for a long time, starting way back in
I can't
when you were
remember.
10 years old with Star Search on,
That was
on,
first-
on CBS.
That was the first television one, but I mean, I've been playing since I can think, you know.
And we have a couple videos of you playing. The first one, and I really prefer you playing the piano. I like to watch that visually, but this one you're on guitar, right? I think
Which song is this?
The one that got away.
I think I'm just standing there singing. I think I go over to a
they're
little
singing?
Fender Rhodes and take a little solo, but I'm just standing there singing on this one, I think.
Okay, let's take a look at that.
All you ladies give her dirty looks. One thing every guy is hooked. She walks by in traffic jam. She got the world in the palm of her hand. She's the one makes my heart trip up. Did it steady and I fell in love. Then I slipped and I messed it up. And she found herself another man. She's the one that got away. 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 Nothing good about a bad excuse. I did her wrong and she cut me loose. Everybody says I'm a fool. I shake my head, try to play it cool. She got a lot of what they call emotion. I never get her back, I know. That's the way that the story goes. She found herself another man. She's the one that got away.
Yeah, we were just talking that was your 50s vibe.
Not everything is like that vibe, but that was, I love that
And
stuff.
let's talk about what you're going to be doing at the Palms.
Okay.
Because I drove by the other day.
Right.
Also, totally astonished to see your name, not that I was saying your name, but how many floors is that building?
Oh,
40,
yeah, 40,
40
50,
some,
something
50
like-
floors. The entire high rise
Right.
is Frankie Moreno.
Yeah.
It was breathtaking.
You can see
Frankie.
every pore in my face.
No, but what do you give our viewers a little preview of what they can expect there?
So I went in and saw the room, right? I went in and I always like before we do a concert, even if it's a faraway land, I want to see pictures of the room. I want to know what the room is, the layout, where's the stage, how many people are there, because then I can build the show in my mind. Like, you know, what am I? Because our show is very chaotic, is the word. Like, we don't normally work off a set list. Like, I'll have a song list of stuff I know I want to play.
Right.
But we kind of just, you know, by song 2, I'll feel what the crowd is reacting to. and I'll just go there.
I like that because then you're responsive to the crowd instead
Right.
of
Instead of just this built
take
idea.
it or leave it. What I'm doing. Yeah.
Right. If I have a built idea and maybe you're not responding to that at that moment, then I'm going to go an hour and a half of just this idea that you're not responding to.
Right.
So we looked at the room. We saw this room. So Chaos used to be this a nightclub. It was a nightclub. You know, they got the video screens on the ceiling and everything's video screens, and there was stages for go-go dancers and all this kind of stuff. So we changed it all and turned it into a showroom now. But because it still remains what the nightclub was, there's the old booths, there's the stages without the room, and I wanted to utilize that. And like I love, like we were talking about the Elvises and the Liberace's, like that old Vegas booth thing. Like if you wanted to come with your family and you get your own booth, you're not just sitting in a row of seats.
Right.
You know, excuse me, you got to go to the restroom and walk through 20 people. You have a booth, and a waitress comes and brings you your drinks. And there's bars in the room, and there's bathrooms in the room. So it's a beautiful layout. So I went in and I looked at the room, and I'm like, okay, what could we possibly do in this room to be different than anything I've done before? And just started building what we could do. Like, this would be cool if we had this happen and this happen. And then when you do that, you go, okay, well, if I had this happen, what would be a good song for that to happen on? And that's how I built my song list in my head. Doesn't mean it's not going to change when we get there, but there's a basic idea of what we're going to do.
And there's a lot of new technology. So you've kind of taken like going backward old Vegas in the seating kind of area, and then using all this brand new high-tech technology, then with a show full of surprises.
Right.
Right? And
Big surprises.
Here, you're there, you're everywhere around the room. And I got to talk about the band because I mean, you've always done such a great job with your band, with saxophone players and horns, and your brother is
my brother's my bass player in the band. Got a guy named Don who's my drummer, who's fantastic. He's played with Jersey Boys, and even my son Giovanni, who's sitting over there now, plays drums in the show. 3 horns that Pete, Jim, and Diego that are just monster kind of tower power horn thing. I got 2 singers, Ashley and Dre, who's like got the background singing thing going on. My brother Tony plays bass, and I pick musicians who, like we were talking about, you know, got to know the roots of music and stuff, because maybe the song's a country song, maybe the next song's a rockabilly song, maybe the next song's a pop song or a jazz song or a standard. You know, most musicians learn a style, like, oh, I play rock guitar. Well, when we play a classical piece, you need to know how to play it. So I don't look for necessarily a guitar and a horn. I look for musicians, people who know music.
Right.
And my trumpet player plays banjo. You know, some of the other horn players play flute and guitar. Everyone plays something different. You know. Right. So we try to utilize that too. There's moments in the show where all the guys are playing different instruments and well. So it's just, you know.
And as they're playing different instruments, your versatility in how, I mean, you can essentially sing any genre of song.
Well, it's because like if you look at it like a painting, right? The more colors you're able to use, the more things we can paint, you know? And every song is a brand new canvas that comes up, and I can paint. So I got 15 songs in the show, for instance, whatever. Let's start painting. So if I'm constantly using blue, red, green, purple, I can only do so many things. But if those guys can switch now to red and orange and yellow, you know what I mean? Now I can paint different pictures, which is exciting for me to sing. I love every style. I don't even know what you classify our style as, and that's been a problem for us for a long time. I don't know what you classify it as, because the second you say I'm this, and I hear that, I want to do something different, you know, because I don't ever want you to expect what I'm going to do. Right. That we kind of built our whole career on that. Whatever you're coming in and you're sitting and you're expecting me to come out and do this, I want to make sure I don't do that.
And you talk about, you know, painting a picture. When you write a song, it's almost like, I don't know, you listen to other artists, and they have such difficulty oftentimes creating and writing songs. Now, I know Everyone is not a fantastic hit, but how do you, I mean, how does that happen that you can write a song a day?
It just becomes, I mean, I have no idea, honestly. I mean, there was a time when I wasn't writing anything on. For the last about 4 years, since about 2018, the beginning of that, I wake up every day very early, and my goal is to write and finish a song. And I won't end the day until I finish a song.
So you do it with intent.
Oh yeah, I
That
wake
you're
up to write
going
a song.
to do it.
And I don't care if that song is something I'll ever play. Like if I start it and I got an idea like, oh yeah, this is going to be great, I'm going to put this in the show, right? Or sometimes it's like, that's interesting. I don't think I would ever sing this song.
Right.
But I at least finish it. I don't leave a verse and a chorus and then stop. I finish it, and I record it, and then I move on.
Wow.
Just because you know.
And what did you do during COVID?
That. I did that every day. I got up at 5 a.m. and I wrote songs and I recorded them. And I had more time because we weren't doing shows, so I would really record them. You know, instead of just like a note for myself, I would record it and produce it. And I couldn't have any of the band over at the house when we were in lockdown, so I play all the instruments. So I played the bass and the drums and the guitar and the piano and everything, you know. I played everything on the records, and we just started releasing them and got a couple hits out of it.
And we do have a performance that you did during COVID.
Right.
Let's take a look at that.
Well, she rides around town and the boys try to follow. Anywhere she goes, no, they don't give a damn. Hair done up and she's looking like a model. Pedal to the metal, going fast as she can. Keep up! Baby's to the bar as she flies around a corner. Steel blue eyes and a red lipstick. Hear the engine roar in a blink. She's a goner. She'll be out of sight now, lightning quick. Keep up.
And you were just commenting that was during a COVID,
Right.
Or that was during COVID, playing to nobody, and it was
Right.
more of a country.
Well, yeah,
kind
well,
of
that
feel,
song
right?
was, yeah. So what that was, if you noticed, we were at a big amphitheater and there was nobody in the crowd. That's before anyone can come to shows again.
Right.
And we were doing Facebook Live things from my house. I was just singing, you know, and getting great, what do you call it,
Likes?
interaction and stuff,
Yeah,
just
feedback.
because everyone was
Yeah.
home doing nothing.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, how do we do this with the band? So we put together a thing. Gibson Guitars, they sponsor me. So like, let's put on this thing and we'll perform a concert for no one and we'll just go live on the Gibson guitar. And we had like 1 million views, million people watching it at one time. And
Wow.
it was the first, because people were doing that where they were performing little things, but it was the first like full production band thing during COVID. I totally forgot all about that. It seems like 20 years ago.
You've also, in addition to performing at the Palms, you also occasionally go over to the Smith Center.
Yes, I love it there.
Right? Great. What do you love about Smith Center?
Well, the Smith Center was cool because the Smith Center, Myron Martin over there came to me right after we left the Stratosphere residency we had, and he says, come in here and do whatever you want. And I'm the worst person to tell that to. So I thought, well, okay, I'm going to do all these different things. We had a symphony in the room one night. You know, I played nothing but classical music with an orchestra. Like, you're coming in waiting to see that, and I just played Mozart with an orchestra behind
Wow.
me. And then another night we did, tuxes and standards. And, but I was allowed to, we did a run there. We did a 10-show run there where I'm a big Mozart fan. And like, Mozart would write music for an event. You know, bum, 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 bum. We know those songs, right? That was just written for a dinner party for a king.
Really? Yeah.
Like, in time, it translates down, but it was just written for an event. It was written for a night. He was performing, and that was what he was going to play. So I thought, what if we do something like that, where we write a whole show, and we're only going to play it that one time. So if you're in the audience, you're only going to hear this show this one time, and we'll never play this again. It's written for the
so
night.
what happens if you want more?
Well, what happens?
Yeah.
Well, we did 10 of those, and you could just naturally see people like certain songs. People go, I mean, everyone's nice in the audience, so they're not
Right.
going to go, eh. But they're like, yeah, that one's okay. And then there's certain ones they see like, ooh, that's a hit, And I would feel that out, and then I just make little notes. And then down the road, those are songs we started recording for albums, and they ended up hitting #1 for us.
And I think we have some video of you over at the Smith Center.
Smith Center.
It was some kind of love you can never replace. Starts in your soul, tears at your heart, it shows on your face. So you lock it inside, so nobody knows. It was some kind of love, some kind of loss, some time ago. Now a young beating heart is easy to steal.
Once again, performing to nobody over COVID, but
No one ever comes to my shows.
not true at all. But you were mentioning to me that this is a song that you wrote for Ray Charles.
Yes. Wrote it for Ray Charles. We gave it to them. They picked it. He recorded it. And then before that album was released, he passed away. And it's just been sitting in the can at the record label. And so every once in a while, I'll pull it out. And
So how does that work if you write a song for somebody else? He's passed. Now, if you wanted to record that song,
it's my song.
It's your song.
I own it. I do whatever I want. It's just there's a general courtesy. If someone wants to record it, you don't let anybody else record it. Like I can. If you say you want to record the song, I can say no, you may not. And I would say that if someone else, I already promised it to. But once it's out, then anyone can kind of do. It's called covers. They can cover it.
You started your musical career as you indicated as a young boy. And is your brother older or younger?
Younger.
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 And was he also playing piano at the time?
No, so he plays bass in the band, and what happened was one day he was 14 years old, and my bass player at the time had to go play with someone else. I didn't have a bass player, and I was leaving town for a week and coming home to do a show, and he learned the songs on the bass. He played them; they were okay. He's 14 years old, and in time he just grew into this like the best bass player I've ever heard, and we gelled together perfectly. Like my left hand on the piano is doing exactly what he's doing on the bass, and he's been playing with me since he was 14 years old.
Right, but you have another brother as well?
I have 4 brothers.
Oh, you have 4 brothers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one of your brothers, right, I recall hearing a story about how you first played the piano.
Oh yes, that was my older brother.
That was your,
so
okay.
we had an old yard sale, and we were getting rid of this old piece of firewood piano. I mean, just a junk piano in the house. And he came over and he played Star Wars on the piano, and I heard it, and I went over.
John Williams.
Ba
composition.
da 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 da.
Right.
The movie was popular, and I heard that, and he showed me how to do it, and then I started adding chords. I mean, I was 3 years old.
So you had no training at that point?
No. But I just could. Once I figured it out, the chords just made sense in my head. Like, well, no, this is how it actually sounds. He was playing with one finger, but what about all this? And I figured out. And instantly, my family's like, okay, we're not selling this piano. They moved it into my bedroom, and in weeks, I was hearing Mozart tapes and copying them verbatim just by ear. And then they introduced me to Ray Charles, Jerry Lee Lewis, Stevie Wonder. And so I've always been classical and funk and jazz and blues. I just loved all those, so I just kind of blended it all together.
So is this really, I mean, you feel it's like the influence of your family, or at least the support of your family, or they're able to really recognize the talent you had and push it forward?
I mean, I think that's important. Any artist in any sort needs support.
Yeah.
Because you also there's a lot of negative too. Nobody wants to see someone succeed over them. So you always get no, that's no good. So you have to have a team of people. My family they recognized it real quick. I mean, it was I was one of those little freaks. I could play Mozart blindfolded. I could hear a 30-minute piano concerto and almost copy it verbatim by ear at 5 years old. You know, what do you do with that in a kid? I wouldn't know what to do with that. And they didn't know what to do with that, but they're like, well, this is something. So I took piano lessons to learn how to read music and train, and then I started taking 3 different piano lessons a week because I wanted to. And my parents were like, as long as you're having fun, we'll take care of this. And I take a jazz improvising lessons. I took sheet music reading, classical, and then like, you know, pop and rock and roll stuff. And I didn't want to have any walls. And my dad had a little band, a little bar band he had. And I could see that they were limited. Like, we can only play this because the bass player doesn't know this and the piano player doesn't know this. I'm like, God, I don't want any walls, and I want to know how to explain to the saxophone player what I want. So therefore, I need to understand how the saxophone works. So I learned the saxophone. I learned the cello. I learned the...
Come easy to you?
As easy as walking. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know how to change a tire, but I can play anything on musically.
Good for you. And I encourage our viewers to go into YouTube, check out what Frankie has done, because what have shown you here today, it pales in comparison to what you really do when you start boogieing on that piano. It's unbelievable.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to you being at the Palms.
I'm too.
And creating chaos with the CH,
right,
at chaos with the KAOS at the Palms Hotel.
Right.
When do you now? You're going to be there.
So we're there all through the summer. We're there, and then what happens is I tour a little bit, and then the plan is hopefully that you know, if people like the show and everything like that, then we plan on hitting it back at the top of the year. You know, but we'll play the next 3 months or so, and then I leave town for a while, and then.
And all your music, I assume, is available on FrankieMoreno.com?
Yep, FrankieMoreno.com or on iTunes. If you want to come to the Palms, get your tickets.
Get them quick, because this is going to be, I promise you, a night you'll never forget.
Yeah, we're excited. Yeah. We're excited.
Thank you very much, Frankie.
Thanks, man.
And good luck at the Palms.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
See you all next week.
She rides around town and the boys try to follow. Anywhere she goes, no, they don't give a damn. Hair done up and she's looking like a model. Pedal to the metal, going fast as she can. Keep up! Bar as she flies around a corner, steel blue eyes and a red lipstick. Hear the engine roar in a blink, she's a goner. She'll be out of sight now, lightning quick. Keep up.